When Lewis Hamilton crossed the finish line at the Red Bull Ring this Sunday, P4 didn't tell the full story. It rarely does in Formula One, especially when the real transformation isn't measured in trophies, but in trust. This wasn't about silverware, it was about structure. On paper, the Austrian Grand Prix looked like another near miss for Ferrari. Another day of watching McLaren celebrate and Red Bull damage limit. But deep inside the Ferrari garage, behind the radio calls and tire strategies, something far more important was taking shape. Lewis Hamilton is no longer adapting to Ferrari. He's actively reshaping it. And right at the center of this quiet revolution is his race engineer, Riccardo Adami. While the broadcast followed Norris and Verstappen, Hamilton's side of the garage operated like a self-contained force, executing with the kind of precision Ferrari has long lacked. It was the culmination of weeks of work, of silent rewiring beneath the surface. And when the checkered flag fell, it wasn't the result that mattered. It was the method. Because Austria wasn't just about the race. It was about confirming a partnership that's quietly becoming one of the most effective driver-engineer duos on the grid. Riccardo Adami, the quiet voice once behind Sebastian Vettel's calm in chaos, is now the one syncing perfectly with Hamilton's relentless precision. And what they built in Austria didn't just challenge rivals. It bypassed Ferrari's old habits. This wasn't just a result. This was a new Ferrari, powered by Hamilton's vision and orchestrated by Adami. From the opening laps, the difference was clear. While the rest of the grid managed tire degradation, Hamilton and Adami played an entirely different game, one built around execution and microcontrol. Their strategy didn't rely on undercuts or desperation. It hinged on tire life, forecasting, and ERS deployment mapping that had been adjusted not overnight, but throughout the weekend in private data sessions the media never saw. Hamilton's start on the medium compounds was part of a dual-layer plan. The first was to hold track position against Perez and Piastri. But the second was more nuanced, to monitor real-time dead curves lap by lap and expand his pit window, depending on delta threshold. Adami was feeding through corner exit feedback. By lap 23, the rear tire temperatures across the field were spiking. But Hamilton's telemetry told a different story. Minimal lateral slip, consistent traction phase, and controlled wear margins, even through Sector 2. That's not just driving. That's communication. It's the product of a driver-engineer loop where every lift point and brake balance tweak is part of a shared code. Even his late race push, where he held off Perez despite a 2-lap tire offset, was built on banking deployment energy 2 laps prior, without sacrificing lap time. A detail invisible to spectators, but critical to those watching sector deltas. And that's where Riccardo Adami's fingerprints are all over this. This wasn't Ferrari's centralized race control calling strategy from the top. It was Hamilton and Adami managing the rhythm from within, bypassing the old chaos. In Austria, Hamilton didn't just race the car. He raced Ferrari's past inefficiencies and won. It's easy to miss the signals when they're wrapped in silence. But if you watched closely, the psychological shift at Ferrari was impossible to ignore. Hamilton's influence is starting to spread, not as a top-down directive, but as a working model. And the question Ferrari now faces isn't how to help Lewis adapt. It's whether the rest of the team can adapt to Lewis. With Silverstone next, the emotional stakes will rise, but so will the scrutiny. If Hamilton delivers again in front of his home crowd, using the same operational independence, the narrative will harden. This is his team now. And what that means for Fred Vasseur remains unclear. The team principal has maintained distance in recent weekends, offering general praise, but avoiding deep association with Hamilton's side. That might be strategic, or it might be the start of separation. Because in Formula One, momentum isn't just about points, it's about power. And Hamilton, alongside Adami, is now quietly accumulating both. Ferrari can either embrace this new structure or resist it and fracture. Austria showed that the car is finally stable enough for real results. Now, the internal politics must catch up. Hamilton won't force it. He never does. But if Ferrari wants to win on Sunday, they may need to start listening on Saturday. Not to their boardroom, but to their radio. Austria didn't give Ferrari a podium. But it gave them something more dangerous, a functioning Hamilton-Adami axis that now has proof of concept. This wasn't a breakout moment. It was a blueprint, and the implications stretch far beyond Spielberg. Hamilton has found his rhythm, not with the car alone, but with the structure around it. In Riccardo Adami, he has the calm in the storm, the pattern inside the chaos. Together, they are building a method. And in Formula One, method beats emotion over time. Vasseur still holds symbolic weight inside Ferrari. He still commands the org chart. But it's clear now who controls execution on race day. And that's where championships are won. This weekend wasn't loud, but it was loud enough for those paying attention. Every sector time, every call, every silence, they all pointed in one direction. Hamilton is not a guest in red anymore. He's becoming the architect. And Austria, with all its strategic subtleties and internal quiet, was the first real test of that architecture. It held. And if it holds again, in Silverstone, Hungary, Spa, then Ferrari might finally stop searching for the right philosophy. Because the right one may already be running Q3, calling tire switches, and speaking only when it matters. It's not just about whether Hamilton gets his first podium in red. It's about how he's building the system that will make it inevitable, slowly, steadily, with silence and precision.